Hi, my name is Robert. Please read the comments in the About section of this video. It has valuable information and updates. My YouTube channel has a disclaimer video that I encourage you to watch. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you found what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. In this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about parts. Where you should get them, what kind of parts you should buy, and what kind of warranty, stuff like that to look out for. I want to start out by saying that this is not a video to promote any parts supplier or anything like that, because just 100% honest with you, there's no parts supplier that's giving me any deals on any parts or shipping or anything like that. I probably pay just as much, if not more, than many of you pay, because I've heard from many of my viewers that say that they actually kind of push the supplier to give them a better deal on shipping and stuff like that, and that's something that I just don't do. Hey, I pay your price. If I don't like it, I go somewhere else. But let's get started. Now, this video is not specifically about buying parts for a Volvo. It's just parts in general. And I am not a 100% supporter of OEM dealer branded parts, but I do believe in you getting quality parts, especially if they're connected to critical parts of the vehicle. Example, sometimes you may have a car manufacturer, let's just say you have a Toyota, and Denso makes the parts for certain items in the car, and you find out that there is a commonly known weakness in a part, and there's another manufacturer that does a better job of making that part so it'll last longer. By all means, if you can afford to, get that better part, install it on your car so that you don't have continued issues with it. I believe the manufacturer of the vehicle actually designed the vehicle and designed the specification for the parts. So your number one best source for getting parts for your vehicle is probably going to be the dealer. Most other places is not going to supply the quality and the specification part. Most of them are duplicated knockoffs, and you really don't want that if you plan to keep your car for longevity purposes. In general, Volvo has a reputation of demanding high standards and quality parts from their vendors. And this is what is known as an OEM part. It comes in the Volvo wrapper. It has the Volvo part number on there. However, this part was not acquired from a Volvo dealer. Wherever Volvo gets this part from, this part supplier gets the part from the same place. It is the exact same part that you would get if you went to the dealer. Now, this particular part is a hose that goes on your coolant return from your turbo. Now, as you can see, this hose has a lining in it, and it has the outside of it looks like a normal hose, but this hose is far from normal. If you're installing or replacing the hose on this location on the turbo return, please do not go to your corner box store and get any heater hose and put it in this location, because that hose will fail a lot sooner than this hose will. This hose is probably designed to last in excess of 10 years. I've seen heater hoses fail in this position in 2 years. So you don't want to install parts that are inferior to their application. Oftentimes, you can learn or discover where the dealer actually gets their parts from. For instance, the Volvo filter in these older Volvos is a relabeled man filter. So I can go to the dealer and buy a Volvo filter for $12, or I can go to a aftermarket supplier and pay $5 or $8 for that same filter. So sometimes if you find the manufacturer for that part, you can choose to go that route and have success with a good quality part. Another example of that is the spark plug wires in these older Volvos. As you can see, this company called Boji Cord, or however you pronounce it, it is actually labeled Volvo. They actually produce their cables for the Volvo vehicle. I believe they're of better quality than other spark plug wires you can find. So I encourage people to get these wires that are labeled Volvo, or get that manufacturer's cables for this car application. A sad reality and truth is that parts suppliers are in the profit business. If they're not making money with a particular part, they're simply going to quit purchasing that part because they don't want parts sitting on the shelves. I've actually gone to the dealer to purchase a part for a 13-year-old car, and the dealer no longer supplied that part. And the simple fact is, they just wasn't making any money on it. Therefore, my first choice of getting parts supplied is the Volvo dealership, or the dealership of the vehicle that you're maintaining. I want to make a, plea to enthusiasts. If you're an automobile enthusiast, or you really like and appreciate your brand of vehicle, I want to encourage you to purchase your parts, first choice being the dealership if the prices are affordable. Second choice is to a parts supplier that supports your make and brand of vehicle. Example of that is this. If you don't know by now, I'm a Volvo guy. So what I always strive to do when purchasing parts for my cars and cars that I restore is to purchase the parts from a parts supplier that actually sell quality parts. And if at all possible, they actually sell parts that are Volvo OEM certified parts. I often use a company called FCP Euro. There are several different suppliers of Volvo parts. There's RE Volv, there's a company called IPD, and if you do a Google search for Volvo parts supplies, or Volvo parts, or Toyota parts, or Honda parts, you may find parts suppliers that specialize in your brand. I want to encourage you, especially if you're an automobile enthusiast, purchase parts from those suppliers, because when those suppliers make profit and make money from providing those parts and supplying those parts, that enables them to stay in business and continue to supply parts for your vehicle. Now, to me, vehicles are not disposable. I usually keep a vehicle in excess of 100,000 miles. The black wagon that I now drive, I bought it at 188. It now has 292. So I hope to keep that vehicle until it reaches 500,000 miles. Now, I have no intentions on putting lower quality, cheap parts on that car if I can afford better. So I'm going to try to purchase parts from vendors that supply OEM Volvo parts, or from the dealer, so that 2 years, 4 years, 6 years down the road, I can still get parts for my car from those suppliers. One of the worst things that older cars experience is when you can no longer get a part you need to maintain it. At that point, you have to bail. You have to abandon that vehicle if you can't get parts to keep it on the road and to keep it in good, safe, mechanical condition. Another benefit in purchasing parts from these type of suppliers is that when they receive complaints about inferior parts, they usually do something about it and discontinue the distribution or sale of those inferior parts. They only want their customers to be satisfied, and they'll do the research needed to supply good quality parts for you to purchase. Another thing you want to consider when buying parts is that you can often do a little bit of research and find good quality, suitable parts. For instance, I don't know if I've ever installed a Volvo timing belt on a Volvo vehicle. This company here, Continental, sells this brand of timing belt called a Conitec, and those belts are of good quality, and there are other manufacturers that make good quality timing belts that will not fail premature of their scheduled maintenance plan. You have the MAN filters, you have the Bosch filters, you have Gates water hoses, which is a good company to make water hoses. So if you know of a company that makes good quality specific parts, it's okay to purchase those parts. You can often find those parts at your local box store. And then I'm not trying to knock people from buying parts from your local businesses, but sometimes those businesses are not committed to your vehicle and supplying parts to your vehicle for a long term. A prime example of that is I cannot get this good quality hose at one of my local vendors. They just don't supply it. They're not going to. Also, there's another line that goes to my turbo. It's called the turbo supply hose. One end of it is a different size of the other. I cannot get my local box store to supply that hose. So it's a benefit to me to establish a habit relationship per se with a vendor that specifies in selling parts for my brand of vehicle. Another thing I want to touch on is for you to make sure that you buy good quality parts, especially when you're servicing critical items like your timing belt parts or your water pump or some of these coolant hose or electronic parts. All because a parts supplier gives you a lifetime warranty doesn't mean that they have the confidence that that part is made to last your lifetime. Their bet is that you have an older used car, you're servicing it yourself, chances of you keeping it longer than 3 years is very slim. So they're trying to provide you with a part that will outlast your ownership. Whereas when you're purchasing the OEM parts, the parts from a good supplier, those parts may also come with a lifetime warranty, but those parts may actually last 5, 10, 15 years. So when you're dealing with stuff that is of difficult maintenance tasks or critical parts where a failure could cost you the vehicle, you definitely want to seek out good quality parts and not buy something off of Amazon or eBay or some place like that that doesn't specify the manufacturer of the part just to try to save $50 or $70. I would rather spend the extra $70 or $150 on a timing belt kit that I know will last 70,000 miles versus purchase one and the part fail in 30,000 miles and destroy my engine. So you don't want to try to save $70 that ends up costing you $2,500. All in all, don't get too excited about these proclaimed lifetime warranties as much as you should be focused on getting good quality parts, especially for critical maintenance items and service items on your vehicle. Many of you know that I do go to the junkyard for parts. I would say occasionally, but it's actually a lot. And for those of you that are in a tight financial situation, have a real tight budget, or are considering purchasing aftermarket electronic parts, I think a salvage yard is a good source for finding good used parts. There are several parts that I would not get from a salvage yard, but there are oftentimes I come to a salvage yard and I find brand new parts, and when I say that, I mean parts that are barely used. Like you'll find a new alternator or a new starter. Now, I don't typically get any rubber hoses from the salvage yard, but I will get things like newer looking mass airflow sensors, newer looking ABS modules, and things like that. So a salvage yard is a strong consideration for some good used parts, especially if you're considering buying some aftermarket electronic parts. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them below. Thank you very much for watching. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.